Year 3 of tormenting the future villain, E. And the system has finally finished its startup. I was dying to flex my results to the system while showing off just how blackened this villain had become. System waffle, the villain's corruption meter is totally maxed out, right? We'll say, greetings host. On my end, his blackening progress is a flat 0, yet his obsession level is dangerously close to detonating. What kind of game are we playing now, young mistress? Will care to stop diluting your tea with more water? I'm absolutely cooked. How did I turn this villain into such a total freak? Following a brutal car wreckage, the system transmigrated me into this alternate reality. The Wen family was destined to remain childless, but my sudden arrival miraculously helped them conceive a daughter of their own. Consequently, I became the most spoiled and pampered heiress of the Wen dynasty. I survived in this fictional world for over a decade until just recently, when the system forcibly unlocked my memories. It demanded that I trigger the ultimate blackening of the villain, Shensi Dai, only by successfully executing this mission. Can I earn enough life points to resurrect in my original world? Miss, the individual you requested has been located. He's currently held in the presidential suite upstairs. From what I've gathered, the Shensei depicted in the novel possesses a twisted soul, a textbook psychopath, and a cold-blooded villain. This is the man destined for darkness, Shensa. Based on the original novel's timeline, his grandmother is rotting in a hospital bed, desperate for funds to survive, but he was just viciously jumped by a gang of thugs who stripped him of his last bit of life-saving cash. Pushing him over the edge into darkness at a time like this should be as easy as taking candy from a baby, right? I arrogantly hoisted my chin, gazing down at him with disdain. Thirsting for a taste of revenge, he remained deathly silent. A heartbeat later, he gathered his backpack that had long since been ransacked. Seeing him on the verge of walking away, I channeled the original host's arrogant and malicious personality. He didn't offer a word of protest, but those bottomless eyes stared so piercingly that a chill raced down my spine. The Wen family's private security doesn't mess around. In a heartbeat, a squad of elite battle-hardened blood guards snatched those punks up like they were stray kittens and hurled them directly at our feet. Itching to take your own revenge, Xiao. Too bad I'm not letting you lift a single finger. You'll never get the satisfaction of settling the score yourself. Catching a spark of pure irritation buried deep in his gaze, I instantly signaled the guards to whip out a wad of cash. It looked like a measly few thousand yuan, not even enough to cover my daily pocket change. Aren't you desperate for some capital work? I just happen to be in the market for a loyal dog. Take the position. I'll clear every cent of your grandmother's hospital debt. Good grief, he's absolutely stunning. So this is the mysterious new transfer student, Shen Ci. Why does he look so swamped with work though? I'm definitely snagging his contact info later. Student Shen, you can take a seat at Was. Shen so? Get your tail over here. Who does she think she is? As a lowly dog, shouldn't you be parked right at your master's feet? Bakti. Yes, young mistress. The name's Wen Lin. One car wreck later and I was isekai'd into this reality. It wasn't until recently that the system finally went live, dropping the bombshell that only by successfully redlining the villain's corruption. Meter vertical bar. Could I rack up the life points needed to return to my original life? Refusing to let the plot move at a snail's pace, I plotted to keep Shensi under my absolute control, banking on constant humiliation to trigger his descent into darkness way faster. During his time as my school-bound shadow, he stuck serving my meals, fastening my shoes, and playing my personal bodyguard. Some nights he even has to serve as my foot massager. Naturally, thanks to my calculated orders, the household staff has completely iced him out, dumping the filthiest and most grueling labor on his shoulders. But the part I can't wrap my head around is vertical bar. Despite being treated like absolute garbage, he hasn't uttered a single word of protest, acting like the ultimate professional servant, yet still submissively grinding through his chores every single day. Young mistress, your laundry has been fully taken care of. You're tardy. I assure you it won't happen again. Watching him wordlessly reach for the skincare bottles by the bedside, my sense of impending doom hit a fever pitch, so I cranked up the petty tyranny once more, noticing he still didn't give me the reaction I craved. I pressed the sole of my foot down with even more force. You're bleeding. Why the hell didn't you speak up? It's a non-issue. Who laid their hands on you? They were your own people, young mistress. Why play dumb? The realization hit me instantly. It was the household staff who had jumped him and he was certain I pulled the strings. I immediately shoved on my shoes and dragged him out to the main living area. I summoned every maid, the chauffeurs, and even the gardeners to the grand hall. Indeed, young mistress, pay attention when a person is set up and tormented. What kind of backbone are they supposed to show? My orders were only to ostracize you, not to physically break you. I don't do that coward stuff like hiring thugs for a beatdown. I only engage in psychological warfare. I clearly misread the young mistress's intentions. The error is mine. It won't happen a second time. Young mistress, You are more than welcome to keep being immoral to me. Wait, what? Young mistress, by the second year of Shensei being my lapdog, his grandmother finally breathed her last. This time, it wasn't the sickness, just old age taking its toll. Before she passed, her final thoughts were still consumed by Shensei's welfare. You're dismissed for now. These grim details were relayed to me by the sentries I had assigned to watch over his grandmother. Shensa requested a brief absence to organize his grandmother's final rites. I spent the entire day on edge worrying. It wasn't until the dead of night that he finally crawled back. He looked even more shadowed and haunted than usual. His messy bangs cast a veil over his eyes, making his true feelings a complete mystery. My heart, it felt like it was being pricked by 1,000 needles. Respected host, do not lose sight of your objective to escape back to reality. You only cleared 1 day of leave for yourself. Starting tomorrow, keep these pathetic emotions out of your work. You belong to me, which means your feelings are my property too. I am officially forbidding you from grieving. As you wish, young mistress. I've been following the system's twisted playbook to the letter T, and Shense is indeed submitting to my every whim. But for some inexplicable reason, I can't find a shred of satisfaction in any of it. Yeah. He still performed my massage with his usual precision, catering to me until I finally drifted off. Only after I was deep in slumber did he retreat to his quarters. The moment his footsteps faded, my eyes snapped wide open, feeling as though my very soul had been hollowed out. I stared at the ceiling until the clock struck midnight, unable to catch even a second of rest. Shensi's final blood relative is gone forever, Yet I had the audacity to issue a heartless order like that. I truly am a monster. I slipped out of bed in total silence, plucked a fresh sprig of jasmine, and crept toward Shensi's bedroom door. I quietly placed the jasmine in the vase on his nightstand. This was the scent his grandmother cherished most. I just hope it offers him some small comfort in the dark. The system should be offline by now, right? Hey, Shensa, your grandmother didn't actually abandon you. She just found a different way to watch over you. I'll bump up your pay tomorrow, so please stop being so sad. Stop thief, young mistress, I'm begging you, don't leave me. You absolutely cannot abandon me. In the grueling days that followed, I relentlessly tormented Shensei like that every single day. Whether we were burning through cash at the mall or walking the halls at school, I kept up the constant bullying for 3 solid years. By year 3, I took Shensi out to the meadows for horse riding. He stayed grounded right beside me to ensure my safety. The picture of a perfectly loyal hound. But I'm not delusional, I know this is all just a facade. In 3 short years, he will evolve into the apex villain of the story's second act, the only monster that the main protagonist won't be able to lay a finger on. The version of him I see now only exists because I hold the leash of power. If I've spent these years using him, then I guess I don't mind being a tool for his rise. As long as I reach my endgame in one piece. I'm practicing my gallop with Shensi acting as my shadow, poised and ready to catch me at any second. His gaze was vibrating with a strange tension. It's been over 3 grueling years. The man before me is no longer shrouded in that deathly stillness. He's actually learned how to play the part. For instance, I've finally harvested enough energy to manifest here again. With the system back online, I pivoted instantly and seized Shensi by the throat, flexing my dominance for the system. Shensi, get on your knees. As you command, young mistress. In that moment, his eyes locked onto. My hand chafed raw and red from white-knuckling the reins. Does it sting? He's far too skilled at this performance, enduring the life of a villain while being degraded like this. Don't let that calm, placid exterior deceive you. I'm positive. His hidden corruption meter redlined ages ago. System. Has the villain's blackening progress finally exceeded the limit? At this stage, innate. According to my logs, his blackening value is exactly 0. Yet his obsession index is practically detonating. Who gave a dog like you permission to touch me? System, you need to hear my side of this. I've been grinding these missions for 3 years, and you finally decide to crawl back online. Don't buy into his act. I get it. I'm partially to blame for this too. You two keep at it. I'm going to check out for a nap. Wait, excuse me. Upon our return, a torrential downpour began to lash the estate. Throughout the entire journey, I didn't spare a single word for Shense. I took all the raw frustration from the stables and channeled it into a brutal cold shoulder. Even back in my suite, I maintained the wall of silence, refusing to let him feed me, and barring him from entering the room to attend to me. Outside, the sky was weeping. I stood by the glass, staring past the balcony, toward the stone path winding through the garden. That familiar gaunt silhouette stood perfectly rigid. The icy, merciless rain hammered against his body. He didn't flinch, not even for a second. Young mistress, I'm begging you, don't cast me out. If the host intends to push him into total darkness, you cannot afford to get soft now. The roar of thunder and rain dissolved into the black night. A jagged bolt of purple lightning illuminated the room. I lost all track of how much time had slipped away. I abruptly bolted upright and yanked back the curtains. I know you'll never find it in your heart to forgive me. My mind was suddenly a complete hollow void. Driven by instinct, I snatched an umbrella and charged outside. In the middle of the torrential downpour outside the wing, I halted before Sensei and shielded him with the umbrella. Sensei, are you seriously that much of a fool? The young mistress arrived. I struggled to drag him to bed, I forced him to take medicine, and coaxed him into a slumber. Sensei, what on earth is it going to take to break you? What exactly must I do to finally return to my world? You're honestly being way too soft on him. I'm hoping the host can find a way to be more ruthless. I never anticipated that Shensi and I would collide with the protagonist earlier than the original script intended. During the lecture, the echoes of a violent altercation drifted in from the hallway the moment the bell rang. Students flooded out like a swarm to devour the drama. I was just about to make my exits when a friend nudged my arm. When Lin did, isn't that your pathetic little shadow over there, Bao? As the sea of students parted, a savage-looking Shensia was pinning someone to the dirt. The victim was pummeled so brutally they couldn't resist. Host Wash? That's the thug who used to torment Sensei back in the day. He was just spitting venom about Shensi's dead grandmother. I recalled this guy. He was once Shensi's bully, but later he was saved by the saintly female lead and transformed into a powerhouse ally for the main couple. The very second I arrived at the scene, I spotted a girl standing protectively before the beaten guy. It was none other than the female lead, Li Fuyao. Perhaps you should offer an apology to this student. What? Shensa completely brushed her off. His piercing gaze sliced through the crowd to lock onto mine. Young mistress, Li Fuyao gave a quick rundown of the incident and finally turned her attention toward me. This is the ultimate catalyst for the villain to blacken. Host, get in there and do your thing, Wa. I knew his grandmother was Shensi's entire world. Yet I balled my fists and forced out a frigid command. Shensa apologized to him this instant. I didn't strike him without cause. It's because he apologized. I ruthlessly cut him off. I lunged forward and delivered a stinging slap right across his face in front of the entire school. Li Fuyao stood there completely paralyzed by the sight. A crimson welt instantly flared up on Shensi's cheek. He remained deathly still for an agonizingly long time. A moment later, he slowly turned his gaze toward the classmates who were gloating and snickering around him. He rasped out a jagged, "I'm sorry." He obeyed my command, but my heart felt like it was being shredded, even as the system chimed in to announce that Shensi's blackening value was surging. I couldn't summon even a single spark of joy. That thug was the one who used to torment Shense, yet I was the one who forced him to beg for forgiveness. I utterly degraded him in front of the entire school. Since we crawled back from campus, Shensia has barricaded himself inside his room. I was certain he would loathe me to his very core, but shortly after the system whispered, "Host, the villain's blackening value has plummeted back to 0. I froze, practically unable to process the news. Did Shense really just absolve me like that? He operates exactly like a cold machine, always able to suppress his emotions with eerie perfection, always serving as my flawless shield. But it seems I've cruelly forgotten that. He possesses the capacity to feel sorrow too, simply because he's destined to be the villain. Even though right now he's just a broken kid, kicked around by every person he meets, I'm still obligated to force him into the darkness. I must resort to any twisted means necessary. But since my childhood, the upbringing I received instilled in me a sense of kindness. Before I was isekai'd, I never even raised my voice at anyone. I didn't even have a single curse word in my vocabulary. But at this very moment, I'm wielding venomous insults over and over again, just to fracture Shensi's spirit. Perhaps in the pages of this novel, he becomes a monster whose sins touch the heavens. But through my own eyes, he's merely a pitiful soul who lost everything he loved. He's been starving for cash. Yet he never once entertained the thought of breaking the law. He always meticulously and tirelessly earned every cent. If I hadn't interfered with his fate, he never would have recovered that stolen money. His grandmother breathed her last shortly after that traumatic event. Yet he still refused to sink into depravity. Conscience, he's merely scavenging to survive like a stray, with zero self-respect, clutching at every jagged ledge to claw his way up. The moment he finally finds his footing, he's relentlessly provoked by the main protagonist, shattering the fragile peace he fought to build. I facilitated the recovery of his stolen cash, yet I was powerless to save his grandmother's life. I provided him a roof over his head, only to be forced to perpetually torment him and incinerate his remaining dignity. I curled into a ball on my bed, so utterly devastated that the tears refused to stop. The system, unable to bear the sight, tried to intervene. Host, this is the inevitable price of the mission. If you lack the resolve to harden your heart and execute the plan, then just walk away. I am sick to death of this pathetic mission, this suffocating pressure. The feeling of being on the brink of a collapse drove me to drift toward his bedroom door. Shense, I nervously rapped on the wood. I genuinely anticipated that this time Shense would finally show some friction. If he realized it was me lurking there, perhaps he wouldn't even acknowledge my presence. Shense, are you brain dead? I barked in order to apologize. And you just rolled over and did it. Well, if I commanded you to go drop dead, would you blindly obey that too? See, I wouldn't. I intend to thrive and remain by the young mistress's side. Shense, just get out. Go. From the very start, I weaponized your grandma's bills to leash you like a dog. The wages I funneled to you aren't exactly peanuts. It's a fortune that could last you half a lifetime. Did I fail in some duty? Tell me. I'll rectify it. You've been my lapdog for 3 years. Aren't you utterly revolted by it yet, Hodlum? Even if you aren't sick of it, I'm reaching my limit. Can you please not cast me aside? I remained frozen, yet he proactively pulled me into his orbit. After an eternity passed, the cold reality of the mandatory mission resurfaced. I immediately shoved him away with all my might. Before he could process the rejection, I swung my hand to strike, only to be met with the sound of a low, soft chuckle. He wasn't harboring a single shred of resentment. Instead, he gently caught and lifted my hand, and pressed a kiss to my wrist, his heat making me shudder. Have you seriously developed a fetish for being a dog? Shense, do you have even a shred of self-respect left? In that case, the young mistress must take even more ownership over me. We're cooked, host. The villain has officially evolved into a total obsessive freak. You've tormented him relentlessly for 3 years, and he seems to have actually fallen in love with his bully. Regardless, the possessive instincts of a creature like a villain are always dangerously volatile. Just find some guy to stage a jealous scene with you. I'll bet my code it won't take long before you can finally clear this mission. While the system was buzzing with excitement, my soul was drowning in 100 conflicting emotions. I couldn't even determine if I should be celebrating this or mourning it. The following day, Shense was forcibly ejected by the guards. Outside, the heavens opened up in another downpour. He stood defiantly at the gate, refusing to budge. Only this time I didn't cross the threshold to acknowledge his existence even once. Shortly after, I recruited a brand new personal bodyguard named Lee Kun. By day, he tutors me and serves as my shield. He has effectively erased every trace of Shen's role, and Lee Kun established a seamless rhythm together. Meanwhile, Shense completely evaporated from my world, leaving not a single footprint behind. Only the system's periodic notifications echoed occasionally within my mind. Why did the value suddenly plummet up? A wave of pure dread washed over my heart as I frantically tried to reach Lee Kun. But he had vanished into thin air. He was nowhere to be found in the entire state. Host, at this very moment, he is currently trapped near Shense, and his life is dangling by a thread, following the system's navigational pings. I raced to the outskirts, stopping before a derelict shack. This desolate area is a ghost town. There's absolutely nothing out here, despite the scorching sun beating down from above. The interior of the house was a void of darkness, making it nearly impossible to distinguish shadows from reality. Panic began to claw at my chest. Shense was born with a fundamental lack of empathy. I couldn't fathom what horrors he might inflict on Lee Kun, but with a human life at stake, I gritted my teeth and ventured into the decaying abandoned house anyway. The moment I crossed the threshold, the metallic iron-like stench of fresh blood slapped me in the face. Terror drained the color from my skin, yet I forced my legs to carry me deeper into the gloom, until in the most secluded room, I discovered Lee Kun sprawled motionless on the floor. Young mistress, I've finally lured you into my grasp. Shense, listen to me, we live in a civilized society, governed by laws. Assault is a felony, do you understand that? Young mistress, you finally deigned to grace me with your presence. You still harbor feelings for me, don't you? Young mistress, are you trembling in fear? Afraid I'm losing my damn mind? He genuinely looked like he'd spiraled into total madness. Since the young mistress refused to grant me an audience, I was forced to orchestrate this little reunion myself. This intruder usurped my rightful place. I truly shouldn't have allowed him to draw another breath. The Shense I once knew would never be this depraved, but the overwhelming scent of gore was impossible to ignore. Calm down, he's not dead. I didn't lay a finger on him. If you didn't touch him, then where did this carnage come from? I simply hungered for a single answer, and now I have my clarity. No one knew the location where I abducted Lee Kun, nor the destination where I stashed him. Yet the young mistress was enlightened, tracking us down to this exact coordinate. What if, us? I simply had him tagged with GPS trackers. I've already swept him. There was nothing. I frequently contemplate why was the young mistress so adamant about discarding me? Why does she obviously cherish and shield me well, only to cast me into the cold over and over again? Is there some unseen force pulling the strings of your very soul, young mistress? Or perhaps the young mistress carries a secret trauma compelling these actions. But honestly, none of that matters to me. Young mistress, you may continue to inflict your cruelties upon me, but I beg of you, do not revoke the vow you whispered to me, May, and do not erase my existence from your world. Young mistress, allow me to remain as your shadow. After that nightmarish encounter, Shense was rushed to the ERO. His flesh was a map of countless jagged lacerations, hemorrhaging aggressively. My recovery team swarmed the crime scene, and upon investigation, they discovered that the carnage in that ruin belonged solely to Shen Seit. He had deliberately drained his own veins, calculatedly manipulated his own vitals, and orchestrated that trap just to lure me to his side. Because of that reckless stunt, his blood loss was critical, leaving him comatose in that hospital bed for 3 days. I stood motionless beside his bed, staring at Shen Sei's ghostly, fragile features, and in an instant my resolve hardened. What's the status of his blackening meter? It has plummeted to 20. I wasn't built for this ruthless mission. These past few years in this reality have been nothing more than borrowed time. I should have perished in that wreckage an eternity ago. It's alright, you've played your part well. Aborting mission, transmitting request. Request authorized. I've bought you 1 final month to say goodbye to your parents. In 7 days we depart for the real world. Chet. Shen Sai finally regained consciousness 2 days later. Under my constant supervision, yes, his lacerations had begun to knit back together. The moment he saw me, a flare of hope ignited in his eyes, only to be snuffed out by his own dread. Young Mistress Sai, have you come to condemn me? Send a messenger instead, Yen, because I can't bear to hear you personally. Pronounce my execution. Shen Sai, what goes on in that head of yours, Maltius? There is no judgment coming for you. As for Li Kun, I settled his account and sent him packing. Regarding your little display of madness, I've already had my people scrub the evidence. Shen Sai was soon released from the ward, and shadowed me back to the Wen estate once more. This time, the petty humiliation ceased entirely. He was no longer obligated to wait on me hand and foot, yet it seemed he had developed a true craving for it. Every night at bedtime, he'd find an excuse to massage me. Young mistress, it hurts. The fever must be returning. Young mistress, please, show me some affection. I had made my peace with leaving. I had already commissioned a grand birthday tribute for the Wen patriarch, even if he rarely found the time to look my way. But I'm fully aware his love for me is boundless. Shen Sai, head over to the east side of the city and fetch me a box of those peach pastries. I recall a specific shop there that crafts the absolute best. The second he vanished, my smile slowly withered away. System alls. Extract me. Get me the hell out of this world. Understood, host. Or perhaps we should stall for a few more moments. If he isn't back within the next half hour, then we depart. From this estate to the eastern district, the trek alone takes a minimum of 30 minutes. That bakery is notorious for its endless queues too. But by some miracle, he somehow managed to sprint back in under 30 minutes. Young mistress, where do you think you're going? It's my mistake. I took far too long to secure the pastries. I pivoted slowly and watched as silent tears traced paths down his face. He was vibrating with the gaze of pure unadulterated obsession. Young mistress, is there even a spark of love for me? Are you plotting to discard me once again? I cherish my family. I value my friends and the life I left behind. Aren't you desperate for some fast cash, Witzel? I just happen to be in need of a loyal dog. The position is yours. Those medical bills for your grandmother, Moi, I'll settle them in full. You're bleeding. Why did you hide it? My orders were strictly to ostracize you, never to physically break or bruise you. Shen Sai, your grandmother hasn't truly abandoned you. She simply found a different form to remain by your side. Is it truly only through this relentless torment of a soul like Shen Sai that I can successfully fulfill this mission? I refuse to accept a fate as twisted as this. Young mistress, don't you dare leave me. I will never permit you to vanish. Waking up to see my parents' eyes brimming with tears, I lunged into their embrace, letting my own tears fall without restraint. I was supposed to perish in that wreckage. I never dreamed I'd be granted 1 final month to offer my parents a genuine, heartfelt farewell. It truly feels as though I've made a miraculous recovery. My family escorted me home from the clinic and began my journey through physical rehabilitation. I kept their spirits high with constant laughter, all while silently ticking off the days in my heart, calculating exactly how many days of life I have left. Over half a month has already slipped away. I frequently catch myself drifting, my mind fixated on Shen Sai, agonizing over how he's surviving without me. He's likely scrubbed me from his memory by now. Just as I finalized the last words of my will, planning a final goodbye celebration with my family. Host, the villain's blackening value has reached its peak. Congratulations, the mission is officially accomplished. Are you plotting to abandon me once again? Well, what's happening to Shen Sai right now? The villain? He has completely vanished. A few days following your departure. Chill. He evaporated without leaving a single clue. Even my sensors can't track his location. The flow of time in that reality is completely out of sync with this world. My heart hammered against my ribs. The party was scrapped. But even after days passed, I couldn't shake the dread. My chest felt constricted heavy with a crushing ache. Once while navigating through a crowded market, a sudden commotion erupted further up the street. A swarming mob suddenly hemmed me in. I stood on my tiptoes at the back of the throng, desperate to see the source of the chaos. Suddenly, I was violently jolted by the surging crowd, sending me stumbling as I lost my footing. Not a single soul noticed me falling. Thank you, but please release my hand now. Young mistress, I've finally trapped you in my grasp. Shenta, I've adopted a brand new identity. Just a lonely orphan with no family and no sanctuary yet. Completely and utterly dependent on you. How did you even cross over into this world, Xiao? How could you possibly know I was here, Xiaoan? I waged a lethal gamble with the system, betting my entire existence that you loved me. Even with death staring me in the face, I would still crawl back to your side without a second thought. I've accepted that I'm your property. In this lifetime, there is no escape for me either. So I finally arrived.